Hello. Hello. It will honestly be hilarious if this gets soloed by Jack Raiden. I thought because there was like at least, 3 people in the chat that it would have started the words on stream thingy-majiggy, but, from the looks of it, it's nothing but Jack right now. Where's Tanmux? Where's Hawaiian? Well, Hawaiian's done fishing, hopefully, at this point, so we'll see. Oh, I need to put my watch on charge. I'm an idiot. Forgot to put my watch on charge, of all things. Didn't know the game started? It's right there! Alright, get ready to try again, then. Don't mind me as I do a quick bathroom break. Hey, look at that! Way more people are playing this now. The fuck is a crooner? Oh, damn, look at that! 64 out of 35. I think that's our... Yep! We were like 2 words off from the maximum. That's pretty impressive. I love how Jack just puts in singer. It's just like... I don't remember an S being in there. But yeah, look at that! Look at that! Everyone's doing better. Crooning is a different form of singing. Ah, okay, okay. Alright, so young Jack Raiden, once again, 34. Hawaiian Pizza, 14. Terry got 9. Hi there, Terry. Welcome, welcome. And Tanmux got 7. Alright, next level. Let's see how these guys do. There's still like another minute and a bit before I have to start. Damn, Terry found the policy really, really fast. There's a lot of 4-letter words apparently in this thing, which I think is going to be a Ooh. Nice, nice. Hi there, Izzy. Welcome, welcome. Chat, you should go check out Izzy the Fat Cat. They do some impressive, like, fat art and what have you. So... Alright, there's like 30 seconds remaining before we go over to the, the normal gaming screen. Ploy. Is there anything, so like there's a lot of C words. Chloe? That's a weird one. we'll move over into the like the chatting area once we get through the last of this. So anything between C and P. So ooh, oily is good. L. Can we get to the final one? Does anyone have a final one? Nah. That was impressive again. All 3 levels. That was really, really good. This would advance us to like the 7th level. I'm not gonna have it like, I'm not gonna have it do that, however. But great work, everyone all around. Actually, let me just quickly show it again, just so then that way people, like, if you want, like, look at that. Look at that. Hawaiian Pizza getting first into the level 4 rankings, which bumps him up ahead into the general rankings. Chuck Raiden fast on his tail. Terry was doing a good job in level 4 as well, keeping him in the top 3. Izzy and Tanmux, thank you for joining in. You couldn't keep... I did fuck all. Hey, you got 8 stars, all right? I don't want to hear it, all right? There are some people in this chat that might who might be a little got a little bit of the dyslexia or what have you. Lord knows it is tough doing those scramble words and such like that. The reason why I have it running is, number 1, is try and encourage engagement in the chat, even if it's just something manufactured like, hey, use the chat to, like, you know, find the words and such like that. But secondly, when I go to trivia on Tuesday nights and what have you, I go to Tuesday nights, and one of the questions that can pop up in trivia, hello, Sir Dragon, welcome. One of the kind of questions that will pop up in trivia is they will give you like an anagram, and you have to unscramble the word to figure out like what the word, so, and they'll normally go with long words as well. So they'll do things such as ejection, democracy, and then I think there was one where it was like beekeeper or something like that, which was kind of ridiculous. Hi there Artemis, summoning demon questions. Yes, that's what Artemis calls it. Artemis is my for any of you that are not aware, that I don't think Izzy is aware of this, so this will be news for Izzy. Artemis is my girlfriend. We met through trivia and what have you, and like that's what she calls it. She calls it the blah 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 blah. She calls it the demon question, because like it's always just like Herstrafer or something like that, or Tenetimbra. It's always weird words like that. Also, thank you for the Barbie shirt. I think Sir Dragon now has like a favorite shirt now, and it's Barbie. I have so many different kinds of other shirts. I probably need to work on adding more shirts as well, and doing like some sort of like, oh, like, you know, have some secret shirts that are not popping up like all the time. But, you know, I'll just update the text file whenever I can. You should try Stream Racers in the future. I think I had Stream Race. Like, here's the thing is that like, I don't, like, I probably need to do like I probably need to do a reestablishment of like how the stream layout is and such like that, because like as much as I like this room layout that I have, like it's kind of bare bones, speaking, and you know, I don't need this desk in front of me all the time. Like the only reason I do is just so then that way it's like, you know, I'm currently eating an apple, but after that I need to get to my dishes and do some afternoon groceries. Totally understandable, Izzy. Best of luck with the groceries. Don't eat them all the way. Don't eat them all on the way back. If you get Gears of War 2, I'm definitely hopping in. Understood. Because like I remember you talking about the Gears of War series being like it's very much like Halo, where there is a co-op thing to it and everything like that. Didn't Stream Racers shit themselves a while ago? See, I don't know. Like I'm not one of those like, you know, 100% down with the 100% down with the side games for streaming, because like I'm not, despite this kind of like, you know, set design and, you know, all this extra work in the past, I'm not one of those, like, you know, high quality streamers or what have you. I'm not like Dazzy where I can easily pull out like 12-hour streams a day for 6 days of the week, or, you know, some of the artists that you'll see where it's like they do like maybe once or twice a week a stream pulling in like the big numbers. Like, I'm not one of those. I'm one of those quote unquote casual streamers where I still have to grapple with the fact that I'm probably not actually casual if I am checking once a month, did I meet the cutoff for the Twitch payout? Because I got the game and got to set up my system, but I will make you jet through and be fucking awesome. I think I've been going at Gears of War at a fairly decent pace. There's a reason why no one there's a reason no one uses them anymore. Who knows? It could be any number of reasons why people stop. Like, I know that people are stopping the use of stream elements not because of, like, you know, just the weird, like, resource intensive and them trying to, like, you know, create their, like, OBS live plugin thing for OBS, or the fact that they do all these, like, sponsorship deals and many of them do not have a good minimum payment, and they're always like, oh, you can earn up to thousands of dollars with this, and it's like totally reliant on you converting your viewers into cookie for Night Sky. Here's your cookie, Night Sky. You know, using those like branding and marketing affiliate things. Ow. Those affiliate things so that like you have to have your viewers actually create those like, you know, mobile accounts and going through the levels and such in order to make a good pretty dime. It's not because of that. It's because of the generative AI shit. Like, I don't explicitly know what part of it is using generative AI is the other thing as well. It's just, that's what I've heard. Totally reliant on you converting your viewers into cookies. Got it. No. That's a Vor enthusiast kind of thing. That's a Majin Buu streamer right there, where he's just like, I am going to turn you into a cookie, and then it turns into like a giant cookie, and then like he just eats him in one go. Has anyone seen Dragon Ball Z where Fat Boo does that to like, it's not Mr. Satan, but it's like some other dude who works with like the alien magician thing to get Majin Buu, and he's like the king of hell or something like that? I can't remember. It eludes me. But yeah. Dabura? Is it Dabura? Hang on a second. Let me open up Opera GX and double check if it is Dabura. Yep, cool. My face tracking is working. All right. Dabura Dragon Ball. Yeah, it is Dabura. You are absolutely correct. He got turned into a cookie. Like Dragon Ball Z cookie. There we go. So he like, there we go. And he just like goes flat. And he just eats him whole. Absolutely insane. Just eats the entire cookie at once. But yeah, thank you, Young Jack Raiden. You are correct. It was Dabura. But yeah, what's been going off in my life? Work's been work. I might be changing the days that I work from home, which is going to be a thing. Yeah, no. I honestly thought there would probably be like some big things for me to share or anything like that, but not at this stage. Nothing of the sort. I just really want to get into video games right now, because it's fun to play video games. I'm just gonna go straight into Gears of War because, you know, I'm really close to the end of the first one. Would be really good. Speed Racers is a racing game. Another Twitch streamer I follow made. He's also Australian. Okay, so it might be different from... Might be different from the... Because I know there was like a racing game for the viewers or something like that, but I wasn't across like if there was like more than one. Once again, I'm a himbo, okay? I know this says Barbie right now, but normally this says himbo. So like usually I'm not that knowledgeable in some of these things. Dun, dun, dun. Alrighty then. Ow. Also, where's my mouse? There it is. The Coalition! Alright, get rid of that empty can of soda. So yeah, playing the 2006 you know, mill like exception, like not exceptional, sorry, what's the word I'm looking for? Got hit with a pie. Yeah, I got hit with a pie. Continue campaign. Berserkers are blind. They hunt by sound and smell. Noted. Didn't realize that was something I had to deal with very often. But yeah, let's see. We're currently at... Yeah, we've entered into Act 4, which is, you know, Long Road Home. So, like, apparently there's, like, 5 acts in total.
Secure this courtyard. Move out!
Oh yeah, I need to do, like, sustained fire for some of these.
Got one!
There we go. Long shot rifle. Thank you. Nope. Alright, Lancer. Actually, hang on. Let me take the torque bow. And then 2 is the dinghy. And then... Sorry, I just want to stick to... I know I'm being, like, really weird right now, but... I like having my weapons in a certain order. Thinking the sniper is going to be aimed down sights. You literally deal with earlier, and by pure luck, you lured it out without dying to its charge. Oh! Oh, that fella.
Got one.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I vaguely remember that.
Coming!
I just, you know, kept shooting at it because, you know, I didn't care about, like, you know, sound or... Ow! I didn't care about, like, the whole sight and sound thing. I was literally just, all right, let me just shoot at it.
Incoming! We need to secure this courtyard. Move out! Good shot! Nice!
So yeah, so... Ooh, what's this? H-O... Hope, okay. Yeah, sure. Hope, that's what we need right now in this, like, post-apocalyptic situation.
Oh yeah!
Ah, I thought I could melee him instantly, but I couldn't. I was doing so much better. You have to walk to make sure it can't hear you, then make noise, or as you did, shoot at it to make it charge at you so you can spot dodge and have it break down the doors. Yeah, I just went with that second option.
Oh, yeah!
There we go.
Engage! Game on, baby! Come get me!
Where the fuck is... Oh, there he is. Damn it, too fast. Go, and then... Alright, where's the other guy? Boom, shot.
Can't get a target!
Where's Baird? Get him.
Fight through the pain!
Very stilted kind of dialogue. Alright, where's the... Are you just like stuck behind a particular set of geometry right now?
Oh, shit! Incoming! Boomer!
Take it out!
To the right!
There we go.
I need ammo. Good
Give me that.
to go. Next!
There we go.
I'll
Boom.
take those.
Some of the weapons are like pretty good. Like I will give Gears of War this. It does like the Halo thing of like I love the weapons we got. Like there's like these humanoid weapons, and then there's some of these like boomstick nonsense where I feel like comes from them. Ooh, more boom shot, yes please. All right, where are? No current objective? What do you mean there's no current objective? We've done the Hi there, Velk. Oh yeah, that reminds me. I should probably be in
Form
my
up!
PC just
Control,
in
this is
case.
Delta. Confirming zone aborted. We are at East Barricade. I repeat, East Barricade. Over.
Some of them are so over the top stupid, like that sniper, that I can't even be mad. That just looks fun. The only criticism I have with the sniper is just like, oh, it doesn't do like a... It doesn't zoom in more. It's just like, oh, it does like a tighter reticule with the over shoulder.
Ahead of you.
Cool. Let's just go with the buildings.
We'll take both. Baird, you're with me. Cole, Dom, take the street. We'll cover you.
So. Here we go. Alright, don't screw up, Baird. Ooh, hello.
Nice.
I'm not gonna be able to take this game seriously as a, oh, we are humanity's last and only line. I'll be doing callouts for Final Fantasy XIV raids soon, so I won't be joining you. All good. All good.
Enemy spotted!
So yeah. Besides, like,
We could use some support.
first-person shooters aren't really your thing. Like, I know you're, like, the games you share with me and the games I find you playing with me most often are usually the,
Cedar!
Hammer of Dawn is online.
Oh, hello. And I blew myself up then. The games that Velk has passed on to me of like, oh, you should try this, has been things like Ball X Pit or you know, Age of Empires 2 and a few others that either fall into thinking too much or roguelike.
Enemy spotted!
Marcus, you could use some support.
Cedar!
Hammer of Dawn is online.
Nice. Get another Hammer of Dawn.
Oh, yeah!
Alright, where's the Hammer of Dawn?
Sweet.
You say that as if anyone asks me about Unreal Tournament and tries to beat me, I will dog walk them. Wait, you play Unreal Tournaments? Okay, so you play older games. There we go.
Hell was that?
Emergence halt? Oh, shit.
Trouble! Scratch one grub.
Okay, I can probably move forward from this position. Oh, sorry, that's Baird. My bad. Where's the other problems? Big gel gun, my beloved. Wait, isn't that in Prey, the gel deployer thing? Aren't you talking about a game from, like, the modern Prey? You're not. The fuck is a big gel? Okay, button mashing.
Marcus, we've got a problem at Triple C. Door secured from above.
Sit tight, Dom.
There we go.
We're almost there.
Also, look how funny it is when you do, like, the quote-unquote sprint. It's like he's...
Hammer of Dawn is offline.
Aww. Alright, so I need to swap out my weapon again.
Got it.
Actually, no, I'm not using the secondary weapon that often. And knowing my luck, there will be another opportunity for the Hammer of Dawn. Oh, biogel. Okay, I thought it was big.
Scratch one grub.
What the fuck was that shotgunning?
Did you see that?
God damn it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was a lovely sounding gib as well. Alright. I'm guessing we can join back onto the streets from here. Thank you for the frag. What the? Oh, there's a...
Oh, yeah! Ah! Damn!
Okay, we're all out of frags, so...
Dom, we're pinned down. You should have position. Over.
Got it. On our way.
I'm sorry, is this guy... Yep, he's tracking me.
Eyes on target. Nice.
Alright, let's ignore that.
Oh, yeah.
Does it want me climbing in through... Nope. Where does it...
Come get me.
Ah, there we go. Okay, so
Thanks
I
for
can't...
the assist.
You know it. That's why we're here.
Nice. Alright. Unless... Delta has found a downed chopper. Oh my god, they're pillaging them.
Now! All right. Don't shoot.
Jesus Christ, man.
Shit. They're not going anywhere yet. All right. Dom and I will go ahead, clear the way. You catch up when you can. Control, this is Delta 1. Delta 2 is caring for wounded and flagging for pickup. Is the conservatory clear?
As far as I can tell, Delta 1.
Then that's our route.
Alrighty. Oh, dog tags. Let me just quickly pick them up. Just look at this man running, just crouching and like doing a fast hobble as if he's, you know, accidentally shit his pants. Like, did they think this would look good? Alrighty, so knowing my luck, they want us to go through this door, is it? Yep, it was.
Shit. Jack, rip this door.
Hey! Come on, Barbie, let's go party. Yeah.
You know what that means.
Yeah, I know what that means. Take cover. Oh, yeah!
Can't get a target.
Damn it. Come on, reload. There we go.
Oh, yeah!
Boomers!
Yeah, get that door open now! Control, tell me those satellites are ready.
Affirmative.
Well then, okay. Dom, let's drop the hammer. Throwing frag! Scratch
Anything secret in here? Nope. Just quite literally a spotting zone. Nice. So yeah. I feel like first-person shooter, like, this is not the first of the first-person shooters that I've played on this stream.
Nice.
But
Now
I feel
what?
like third and first-person shooters are not,
Situation's
like,
blue bar
conducive
here.
to me,
Hostiles
like,
everywhere. We're
you
getting the
know,
hell out.
doing my normal yapping
Roger that.
self
Watch your
while
ass.
playing
We'll
the
see you
game
at
at the
the
same
house.
time.
This date just won't end.
Yeah, at least in prison they gave me 3 odds and a cot.
What was that?
Shh, quiet.
To be fair, games do be like that. Yeah, they do be like that. Like, you're not wrong. It's just... No, I can't put the hammer of dawn on that one. Alright, so I'll put the hammer of dawn on you. Grab the ammo. But yeah, like... First, like, I need to figure out, like, the genre that is most conducive to me being able to, like, 1, engage with the game, and then 2, yap. Because, like, first-person shooters, like Call of Duty, Doom, and what have you, like, I've played those, and I've not been, like, too yappy of a person during the actual gameplay is the thing. Lovely. It'd be a poor game if you spend a lot of time not focusing on it. Well, yeah, but it's like, you know... Try and get around her quietly, they say.
We can't make it. We need to use the hammer. Anya, Berserker, Satellite.
Affirmative.
Tom, we need open sky.
You're running out of time.
Oh, hang on. Nope. There we go. God damn it, like, how do I... Oh, does it want me to, like, do the little, you know, what's this thing? Hang on. Nope, not that thing. There we go. Oh, I see what they want me to do. Hey, over here, over here. Hammer of Dawn could get through glass, but apparently we got some real strong fucking glass out here. Alright, hopefully this will do it. Yep, it does. Kill a berserker in the clock. Oh, shit.
How about we never do that again?
Yeah, that works for me.
Absolutely. But yeah. But no, I like trying to do yapping and what have you as much as I can. Because, you know, there might be stuff I want to converse about, such as, you know, like when there was back on Monday, I shared the news that I had a girlfriend, and the entire time I'm trying to do that, I'm getting my shit stomped in, because like I'm just having like bugs and other enemies like deciding to, you know, knock me side to side. Bam. Oh, there we go. Alright, proceed towards the Felix estate. Oh, Felix just gets a full-blown estate. Cool. Hazing. Cool. Where the fuck is... Alright, so Lancer ammo can be found over there. He was laughing yourself silly instead of jumping in and taking over the storytelling. Yeah. Just leaving me to my own devices to be like thwarted.
Contacts.
Oh shit.
Take it out! Hustle!
Nice!
Just trivializing the encounter by... Alrighty, let's see, is there any other, I love trivializing combat. Reich Adler on top 2, so you know this guy is a good person. Who the fuck is Reich Adler? Is this one of those other details where it's like, well, technically speaking, you're not gonna learn about who the fuck the Reich is. I'm assuming Reich is a bad man with a with a title like Reich.
Satellite is offline.
Ah, fuck's sake.
Get out!
Nemesis.
Oop, hello.
Oh, yeah!
What the hell was shooting me from up above? Adler as in the splayed eagle. Ah, okay. Alright, hang on. So...
Check it out!
Nemesis.
Alrighty, and then...
Oh, yeah! Bring it!
Bring it! Look, I was... One of the original titles I was thinking of giving to this particular stream is just, like, what if Warhammer was tried to be concocted by Americans? Because, like, the British had, like, a good idea on how to do Warhammer 40k. Of, like, just, you know, oh, what if we just did hyper-religion industrial nonsense? I feel like this would be... This is, like, an American's attempt of, like, you know, small level Astra Militarum stuff.
Boomer, take it out!
The fuck?
For Queen.
Uh-huh.
Come on!
your boom.
Got it.
Thank you for the boom shot. Huh? Oh, that's if I wanted the Hammer of Dog. American 40k would be pretty weak, to be honest. Yeah, no, exactly. Because, like, the thing with, like, I remember we talked about this back on, like, you know, the first, should have said yes, queen, instead of for queen. Yeah, because, like, okay, so here's the thing that's going off in my head that went off back on Monday. I think someone explained it really, like, someone explained it where it was just a case of, like, Britain can do, like, sarcasm, like, and parody, like, that's their bread and butter for humor and what have you. And, like, Britain just does that. Like, it exhumes it. If anyone has seen Blackadder, that is exactly what their kind of humor is and such like that. And The Office is just, oh, suffer porn as a comedy and shit. America's not very much into, you know, suffer porn often. Like, that's not to say they can't do it. I mean, if you look at things like Shameless and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, like, they know how to do, like, oh, terrible people and what have you, but it's not a standard. That is not a standard route they go down. Hi there, Where Barista. Welcome, welcome. It has been a long time. Actually, Velk, can you do !add streamer and put in Where Barista? Like, add streamer as one word with the exclamation point.
Sweet.
Do the dishes. How am I doing? I'm doing fairly okay. How goes, like, I'm going through the Gears of War game. I've never played this game before, so no spoilers. We're currently up to Act 4 of the first game. Ow! Got fucking gibbed. Hello, Goldie. So yeah, Izzy's just checking something right now. But yeah, basically, I've created, like, I need to do this for, like, anytime people, like, jump in and such like that. There's, like, I now have, like, a command for when, you know, I grab, like, a what's-mahoozy thing. So, actually, I probably should do a, add streamer. And then I should do a, I should do a, an if statement. So, add core logic if else. So, if, you know, input 0, if it is null or empty. So if it is empty, we do, so if that's true, so yeah, so the idea is so if someone does something like add streamer, all right, and then I need to add another command, which is, I need to stop the action as well is the thing. So, there needs to be a way for me to stop the action once it, core, actions, is there a way for me to break? Like, I need to find a way, if equals true. Because, all right, hang on. So, add your subject into either is based on the results. Input now supports variable parsing. Yep, that's true. When adding an if-else statement, two groups called true new result and false result will automatically be added underneath the action. Yep, that's right. And then, so add core. Is there a logic to break? Yes, there is. Okay, cool. And then hopefully that works. So, all right, let me just see if that worked this time. Yep, there we go. Now it does. Now it does what I wanted it to do. Excellent. So I just needed to add in break and we're good. All right. So yeah, so Gears of War has been such a good console game. Only managed it to Gears of War 3 when I stayed over at my ex's. Ah, okay, okay. So this is my first Gears of War, so I'm going to go through Gears of War 1 because it's available on PC. You need like a premium Xbox Game Pass subscription to play Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3 because they're not available on PC. They're only available on Xbox. But there is a way to play Xbox games on PC through Xbox Cloud. So we're gonna give that a try. Scroll back up for the American 4K. American 40K does exist. It's called War Machines, or Hordes for the fantasy-ish equivalent. Okay, okay. Interesting, interesting, Izzy. Good, quick find, that, by the by.
I'm right with you.
Oh, I have no grenades. Okay. Okay, this sucks, like, operating off us. We have to fight from the bottom of the stairs. Like, come on. Oh.
Down in front. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, I have like a boom cannon. Hang on, what am I thinking?
Good to go.
Thank you for the boom shot. Alright. No shotgun wielders here, thank goodness. I already knew about war machines, but I also know they're in decline because, yeah, it's weak shit. What if the Industrial Revolution was given mechs and then they did nothing with it? Oh, God. Why, like... I remember someone had, like, an idea of, like, oh, what if we had World War I, but it went on for 100 years or something like crazy like that? I remember someone had, like, that as an idea for a, Hi there, YY. Welcome, welcome. Grant Jonsovsky. Never heard of such a last name before. Currently working on commissions at the warrant, chipping away. Fair enough, fair enough. You do your best. Okay, so none of my moderators are doing their what's-a-mahoozy thing that I asked them to. So let me... So the idea is that if I go exclamation point add streamer where barista, it should have done that. It shouldn't have done that. It should have done... Hang on a second. So add streamer... is reply is false. What am I meant to be doing? There was like a command to add a, so there's raw input. So input 0, which is what we applied. And then it triggered the command. We added the thing. So add target result is true. Why did it say, uh-oh, something went wrong? And something didn't go wrong. Something did go wrong. If add target oh, the exclamation thingy-majiggy is not there. Okay. So that's what went, sorry. That's what went wrong. Action history. So if I, hang on. Requeue. So the idea is that is now gonna get auto shoutouts. There we go. From a Slavic zebra from a Polish zoo. Ah, okay. Just remove the @ symbol, see if it works. It wasn't that. It was my if-else statement was checking the wrong variable. Wouldn't it be old-timey speedpunk at this point? It is, but what I'm trying to say is it just doesn't have the sauce. Izzy just looking at, like, the latest and worst of, video games. Ah, Jesus! Thank you for the bit. Jesus, savior of all. This is absolutely crazy to get from Jesus. His words in the Bible. Jesus is our savior. Jesus? Jesus. Is this a... It's not... unless they decide to say some real horrific shit, like, you know, like the hyper, like, right conservative Christian, then yeah. But right at this point, they're just like, hey, you know, Jesus believes in you. Jesus loves everyone. Do you love Jesus? Can I hear an amen for Jesus? And it's like, you know, that's not like inherently wrong. So, oop, hang on. So yeah, there's like accents in there. Look, they gave me a bit. So, and if SiriBot didn't pick up on them being problematic or anything like that, then
Nice.
come on. There we go. They spelt Jesus wrong to get around blocks. Oh yeah, because of the, you know, accents over the J and the S. Look, I'm not gonna complain. I got a bit. I got 1 cent. Already, Jesus over here is giving me way more monetary gain than most other lurkers that are trying to get me to, you know, go like for like or some bullshit, so... Important ammunition. That's why I'm like, I probably should ban it, but it's Grant's call.
Nanny.
Hot shots sounds so horrible. Wait, fire shots? Oh yeah, fire shots. This is 2006. It's not the best. What the hell are we talking about? Oh, just the fact that like a random bot, like calling themselves Jesus and telling me about like Jesus, but using like the different accents and such like that has given me 1 bit, which is already given me more monetary gain than most other, you know, bots trying to garner my attention. So you gotta respect the hustle. Plus, for some reason, the bot thought going into a mature rated game with like, you know, aliens like breaking out through the ground and, you know, hyper military fantasies by Cliff Blinsky, this was the best place to go to for, you know, getting some Christian love, while me, a zebra furry on the internet, you know, you just props to them trying.
Oh yeah. Ah!
And I got the
Nice.
Where the fuck is Dom?
I'm out.
Oh.
Losing blood.
Holy shit!
Oh yeah.
That is incredible! I should use you way more often. Doesn't hurt to spread a little faith. Doesn't hurt to spread a bit. 1 bit. Just 1 measly bit. Hi, Code. Welcome, welcome. Oop. Alright, I take everything back about this gun. It's bullshit. There we go. Hi, Code.
How you doing?
I am alive. I got a bit from Jesus. I got a singular bitty.
Nice.
From Ebus?
From Ebus, or at least someone that's like, you know, circumnavigating the, you know, because apparently some people will block, like, what was the message? Hang on a second. It's just funny. You saw it? Yeah, okay, cool. That pistol's stronger than your gun? Yeah, in some circumstances. Also, where the fuck is Dom?
Code, get in and help Grant fight. I'm eating McDonald's. I will get in and help Grant fight when I damn well feel like it.
Yoshi code. The Yoshi is the most famous of the Yoshi.
I'm eating a triple cheeseburger right now.
I'm out.
Man.
And fries.
Ah! Got glibbed. Of course that was gonna happen. Philo is currently making my bank account cry. Oh, yeah. That's gonna be fun. Australia only has like 30 days of like fuel supply, and their pricing is like based off of the region, not based off of like local things.
Oh, it's 222 over here at the moment for 95.
Yes. I totally understand what these numbers mean as a, you know, non-driver.
Basically $2.22 per liter.
Okay. Rocket.
Which means that $40 at the tank will cost me, but will probably be less than half a tank's worth.
Incoming fire!
Just need to.
Marcus, the manliest man that ever manned.
Yep. Oh, there's Dom. There we go, and then I just need to.
By the way, I'm joking for anyone that's going to go starting to hate on me.
Yeah.
I don't even know where you are in game.
Act 4. So we're trying to get to like Marcus Phoenix's estate or something like that.
Good to go.
Damn it.
Come on!
I was really good at these active. I'm a bit mad I can't explain why War Machines just doesn't have the sauce. Just that! It doesn't have the sauce. Like, there's probably just aspects that don't hit well because, you know, like, I'll be frank, America just doesn't do... It doesn't do parody and all that kind of stuff very well. There's a reason why Helldivers is done by a Swedish, studio rather than an American studio. There's just aspects that, you know, it wouldn't, like, Americans just are not great in dealing with like sarcasm and like, you know, proper parody without accidentally just falling into the pipeline themselves. Like, there's just problems with America, all right? Like, there are people that go through Warhammer 40k and Helldivers in the United States and they're like, yes, this is exactly what I want. Despite the fact that the people who have made Warhammer 40k and Helldivers and all of these other, like, you know, quotations to, you know, like the hyper craziness of fascism and shit like that, are trying to do it as a, hey, this is a very bad idea, don't fall for this. So.
And yet we fall for it every time.
We do. Peeps fall for it every time. So, the makers of Disco Elysium imply that Americans are too obsessed with self-reassurance to want to do anything else, and I wonder if that's anything to do with what you're saying.
Baird, we're coming up on the house.
Ooh,
We're at the
possibly.
stairs
Because,
now.
like, the thing in... So, like, because taking that quote in, like, Americans are too obsessed with self-reassurance, I think it's because Americans have, like, a very... Like, it's a very dumb hopefulness. Like, there are Americans that, despite knowing the odds, they want to win that lottery, and they will go into that lottery, despite the fact that, like, this the optimism and hope is like such a core thing in American narratives. Like, if you look at things like Star Wars, Protestanism, the Protestanism, is that the word that he's trying to write? Protestanism, or is that supposed to be like Protestant? I don't know.
Hang on 1 second. One way to find out. Do we still have this thing up and running?
Let's see.
Protestantism.
Oh, I had all caps. Sorry.
Protestantism. Okay, so it's Protestantism. So it's like the religious.
Protestantism.
Yeah, that. Thank you, Code. You can't hear it, can you?
No, because I had you muted. Sorry.
No,
I
that's
wanted to
okay.
make sure because I wasn't sure if I did it right.
That's
Because I had
okay.
it in caps at one point.
Ah, okay. No, it worked on the caps. So yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, like that's just the best I can do is it feels derivative. Yeah. So, like that's just the thing. It's like there are some like it takes way more work for like I feel like American writers and such like that and American media to do something that just comes inherently with British comedy writing and
Guns up
such.
here and they're trying to kill us. Baird out.
So yeah, because The Office is a really good example of the difference between American comedy in the workplace versus like British comedy in the workplace. Because when you look at like The Office in Britain, like you're not supposed to root for Michael Scott. You're not supposed to root for anyone in The Office. It is quite literally just Britain with their bag of popcorn looking through the window of the 1990s with middle management and corporatization. gosh, look at these terrible people having to be stuck in their jobs. Taps the glass, see if they will react. Meanwhile, on the American side, they don't go down. Like, they kind of do in the first season, but they, like, the writers and the showrunners go down the direction of, like, the office gets brighter. And the story beats they go for are less about, oh, look at how terrible Michael Scott as a manager is and very likely could be fired, and more in the realm and, like, you know, how desperate he would be to try and remain a manager. It's like, nah, here's Michael Scott being the fucking life of the party if he can, and these, like, crazy caricatures in the office, but overall being a net positive to the workforce in terms of, like, mental and social release. Even when things are bad, there is still hope that it will change for the better. Yeah, that's it. Like, it, huge American, like, background there.
Also, Dwight should have been arrested years ago.
Oh yeah, that too. 40K, I can talk about how a lot of its design and models have a basis in real history, even when they're super exaggerated. You can see the fantasy roots underneath all that super dystopian, far future grime. I would argue that Americans don't want to put in the work. They hate the idea of being reminded how much their lives suck, but they also don't want to put in the effort of changing anything. So the effect is mild detachment from reality and expecting someone else to fix things for you. Ooh. Possibly.
Oh shit! Here they come!
Oh. Ah! Oh shit!
Have you stuck with the Lancer the entire time?
As my primary weapon, yeah.
I mean, it is probably one of the most.
It's
fun
like it's
weapons of the
hugely
entire game.
iconic, and amazingly enough, is just, you know, I'm not even using the melee aspect that much.
I have a friend who bought a life-size version of $200.
Ooh, okay.
He managed to find a life-size version of the Lancer for about $200 at Cash Converter in box. This was around
is
the
it not
this was
enough
like,
that I
you know,
press F? Do I have to, like, press the...
You've got to get it right near him and let it go.
Okay. Okay, I have to, like, left click as well from the seams of it.
Yeah. So you've gotta prep it, charge it,
Here they
use
come.
it. I haven't played in quite some time, so some of the gameplay mechanics are still lost on me.
Marcus, I have something to tell you.
There we go.
Not now.
Chunky!
Real chunk. What the shit? They just spoke in full-blown English then, instead of, like, ow.
I mean, yeah, they know how to speak. They're not stupid. They just, ugly.
Nice.
I love that he goes boom and Marcus goes nice.
Damn it.
Let's go. Alright. What kind of slur is ground walker? Everyone walks on the ground, idiot. Look,
No, but
at least they're
inside the
trying,
ground.
alright? Like, I'll be frank with you, there is not a lot of fantasy sci-fis that do the insults well. Like, the only time I've seen them done it, like, relatively well is Halo, where they call the elites split lip, and then in Star Wars Clone Wars, where the clone troopers call all the droids, regardless of if they're a BB-1, whether they're a B1, B Super B Droidica, is they call them Clanker. Knife ears? Here's the thing. All right. Like, it needs to be short and punchy is the thing. I feel like Clanker works because it just has that, like, you know, hard R kind of feeling at the end and all that kind of nonsense. So, meanwhile, knife ears, like, I don't know, like, I feel like, yeah.
God damn, is this ever gonna...
Like, knife ear and split lip are, like, very C tier kind of insults.
Inside the house. There might be locust tunnels inside.
Copy that, Anya. We are aware.
Woo! Yeah, baby!
Oh, hey, it's Cole.
Coal train.
What's up, ladies?
Locusts are inside.
He's just like,
Something else here too, an APC behind the house. Now we're gonna get out of this shithole. No offense.
But yeah, like, here's the thing, is that, like, also elves, like... Oh, I was meant to pause that. Let me just reload checkpoint. Elves, like, I have this opinion about elves, and I have this, like, ever since you enjoying the Coltrane 2 code. That's what Jack's asking.
I always enjoy the coal train.
This, like, I had this opinion back in Overlords, I think it was, is when I shared it here, but I'll share it as many times as I need to. Elves, I feel like, always fall into a spectrum of, like, just, you know, British people. Is they're either in a case of, like, oh, like, you know, peace and love, tree-hugging, ineffectual, like, you know, libertarians that live for a really long time, or fascist speciesists, where they're just sort of like, we were once guardians that spanned across this entire realm, and we lived for age-long time, and then the humans ruined it for everyone. We should return to an age where only elves were superior. Like, they did this in Dragon Age, they've done this in Overlord, they've done this in Elder Scrolls. Meanwhile, on the other side, where you get it with, like, maybe Overlord, where the elves are just, listen, man, we really just want to be with the trees. Nature is a beautiful thing. Wouldn't it be great if you were as tall and as proud as a tree and didn't think of other people so much and just let the vibes flow? Bury your roots into the earth and be one with nature. Wait, why are you revving up that chainsaw? Like, the elves fall into one of those two categories very often.
Yeah, but in Overlord's defense, it was more of a comedic take on the elves rather than a more serious take.
That is, like, I accept that, but it's like, whether it's for comedic sake or for, like, you know, like comedic sake or serious sake, it's either hyper fascists, that's just a, like, Empire or Empire Frozen, or nature. Like, it's always it's one of the two, and I feel like with, like, absorbing media and such like that, it's very, like, I will definitely be a bias to this as well.
Plug it up.
Is there a way for me to, like,
Throw in a grenade.
Yeah, I just
think
need
that
to
was
find
the
a
only way
grenade
for me
is
to
all.
plug 'em up.
just, I'm not finding them.
And you don't have any left?
Nope. Okay, you just need to kill enough of them. But yeah, like,
Oh,
this.
sorry, I remember throwing a grenade in there to get rid of them all. Oh, no.
Anyways, you'll have a little. I'm gonna have to off after the supermarket, but I'll leave this off. Of course, an American would think a thing or two about the makings of a good slur. Yes.
I mean, we Australians have lots of good slurs.
Oh my gosh. Like, would you consider Eshe a slur?
Yes.
Really?
I also consider Eshe's needing to be run over by a bus.
Alright. It would probably help if most people didn't cut down the trees in the forest that the elves lived in. Yeah. Actually, this is something that it pops into my head, and I try having a monologue about this. But with media like Zootopia and Free Ren, I feel like anytime there's the whole, you know, utilizing additional, like, species beyond, like, human, or using alternative, like, species, there's, like, two problems. Ow. Is Greenie an insult? I don't know. It doesn't have the same kind of, like, venomness
impact
to it. Like, that's the thing, is that there needs to be a very bleh. Like, as if you're
like,
just,
oh, hey, Greenie, you know, what are you doing?
yeah, it needs to have the same sort of, like, vocal stim as when Malfoy wants to refer to Harry. He's just like, Potter. It's just very much a case of, like, you think he would hold it in, but he won't. And it just, bursts out of him. Like, that's what it... So, like, with Greenie, it's just sort of like, I don't know. It's in the same realm as, like, there's a lot of baggage in the other person's mind that needs to exist for them to see Greenie as insult. Like, when someone's like, you know, I just don't know about an Ipswich. Like, could you imagine living in Ipswich? Like, through tone, you can kind of understand Ipswich may not be a brilliant place to live in and such, but that comes with a lot of, you need to have, like, lived in Queensland and such like that. Ipswich on its own is not an insulting term. Let's see, is there any grenades? But yeah, what was in my... There was something in my head I wanted to still... Oh yeah, the use of, like, alternative species in, like, fantasy or, like, you know, fiction. Like, they fall under, like one of the problems in, like, you know, historically using... I say historically, but really it's more of a, like, modern kind of take. But
upstairs is clear. Using
alternative species to denote, like, racism in your media, so, like, things like Zootopia, Bluey, and, like, you know, some of the fantasy stuff like in the Tieflings in Dungeons and Dragons. I feel like one of the problems that has arisen is that it falls under one of two camps, which is either, number one, like, the racism allegory falls flat or it goes over people's heads because you're utilizing species where there is actually genetic predisposition. Hang on.
Predisposition?
Thank you. They mentioned racism in Bluey. Not explicit. Here's the thing, is that the racism in Bluey is very, very, very muted because, you know, it's not something they point at, but just to, like, this is more of like a headcanon kind of thing of, like, if Bluey wanted to do, like, a little episode on racism, which I don't think they would, because racism isn't explicitly an issue in Australia or anything like that. It's more about nationalism and such. But anywhoosies, kids won't understand the subtext, but it's a subtext that can almost work, and that, like, because of, like, for example, like, you have different species in Bluey with the dogs, and even within dogs, different dogs are, like, different portions. So, for instance, like, Bluey is a cattle dog, technically that's their beat. But you have French bulldogs and you have Pomeranians and poodles, and they had an episode where the Pomeranian, like, is a small dog, and, like, I just remember the phrase, Pomeranians are a small but hardy breed, and it's like, so, you know, if that was taken in by an American hands and what have you, like, there could be, like, someone would try to, you know, denote, like, an episode about racism and such like that using dogs, of being like, oh, like, you know, we don't want to we love hanging out with you, but you're hosting a birthday party with a French bulldog. Like, I feel like an American would try and do that. So, and they tried doing that in, like, Zootopia, and they've tried doing it in D&D, but the problem that pops up in, you know, D&D and Zootopia is that, unlike racism in real life, where they try and use genetics as, like, an argument for, like, why one race is more superior than others, because in real life, that is not the case. There is no scientific backing to, like, one race being superior to another. It falls flat under any kind of scrutiny in the scientific method and what have you. But when you apply the scientific method into something like, you know, fantasy species or, you know, animal personas and such, then, you know, that's not falling flat anymore. So for the instance of Zootopia, there very much is a huge there's a genetic difference between, you know, lions versus sheep. So, like, of course, so if someone gets hit with, like, the racism thing in Zootopia of, like, oh, should we be more fearful of predators? Then, you know, whoever is going to watch it is either going to fall into the realm of, yeah, we absolutely should, because they're predators that eat meat and sheep don't eat meat, and da 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 da. So that's the one problem, is, like, trying to use alternatives, like you might accidentally fall into the you might fall into the pitfall of like you've accidentally now given like a genetic reason to, you know, do the separation, which is not the case in real life. In real life, racism is just quite simply racism of like they just look different. And so yeah, the second camp that falls under, because of the recent use of like alternative species or personas and what have you to denote racism, is that when it's not utilized in the medium, like in Free Ren or Devil May Cry, not the Devil May Cry TV show, but like Devil May Cry, you know, the video game series, both reboot and original, people will start looking at that. Or Lord of the Rings, for instance, like, you know, the Lord of the Rings TV show we got. I've made Code very awkward about this, haven't I?
Nope.
You hear?
My brain just turned off, and I was also eating some ice.
Ah, okay, fair. So, because the first camp is you act like something that isn't meant to have, like, you know, genetic differences and what have you starts having genetic differences. That's the first camp. The second camp is when you have media that isn't engaging in racism, but uses the alternative species. So, for instance, Free Ren, where you have humans, elves, dwarves, all of them, like, you know, sort of existing in society. But then you have demons that are technically monsters who use speechcraft to trick humans to eat them and such like that. Some people look to Free Ren and like the demons and such like that as, oh, you know, this could be an allegory for like racism, and, you know, Free Ren is a racist. And it's like, no, that's not what the like manga Carta was trying to do. And then for the Lord of the Rings, there's also the case of like, you know, the whole point of the orcs, yes, technically were elves, but then corrupted by the dark magics until at one point there was nothing but the orcs that were just bred for war and such. They were meant to be the dehumanized, like, you know, the war machine and what have you. So they were meant to, like, you know, just sort of be like, oh, you know, the perils of war and doing the, you know, the easy good forces of good versus the forces of evil kind of thing. But then for whatever reason, there's there's families in Lord of the Rings' the Rings of Power TV show and such like that, which wasn't a thing in like the Lord of the Rings books, and I think technically in the Silmarillion as well. So you have like that secondary, which is, you know, people with like media history and what have you. I've fallen into this, I will be frank with you as well, where you go into a media that isn't trying to do like a little commentary on racism or something like that, but because of like, you know, pattern recognition and like, you know, just previous, like, you know, in exposure to media, you start going, is this an allegory for racism just because there's subspecies introduced?
PC.
The status is that it sucks.
Long fucking
Clutch
tangent,
plate is
I
cracked. I'm gonna
realize.
have to take out the flywheel.
Hey,
Just a
Bear,
little.
And pull the drive shaft
nah,
for sure.
just fix it.
Right. Roger that. I can do that.
Excuse me. Yeah. So how goes the
It's gotta be
time loop game code?
Oh, we beat that last night.
Oh, congratulations! Also,
It's honestly, the gameplay mechanic of it is really interesting. The voice acting was a little so-so.
Okay.
Because like the main character constantly sounds like Batman, with everything he does. Like, yeah, every time I hear him talk, the only thing I can go is Joker. Like,
You're coming out of that hole.
you're having like what is supposed to be a sentimental moment. It's like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that got through on the mic. It's like but the thing is though, the story kept me hooked.
Yeah.
The story was enough to really keep me hooked, and the gameplay mechanic of you are constantly dying throughout. You are bleeding out throughout the entire game, and you have 15 minutes per loop as you bleed out. You can extend the time with certain healing items and things like that, but you're still limited based on the fact that you have about 15 minutes before you bleed out and drop dead on the spot.
Oh,
And
yeah.
any of the monsters that hit you will decrease that time. Along with, all sorts of different factors that can affect your run.
Baird, what's the status on that APC?
The status is that it sucks.
Fear the time loop.
Blade is cracked.
Fear
I'm
the
gonna
time
take
loop.
out the flywheel.
Yeah, Deathloop was kind of cool, but
Drive shaft
Nah,
for sure.
Just fix it.
the fact that there was like a little bit of a puzzle solve of like, oh, what's the correct order in killing people? Like there wasn't an opportunity to do like a crazy like different order from like another person or something like that. It's just there's only one correct.
Yeah, there was really only one correct path you could choose from.
Yeah, which is annoying. Like I would have liked if it was like you could somehow like have an ending where it's like, oh, have all of your targets in the same like area at the same time or something like that for like a big send-off. That would have been really cool if they had that as like one of the possible endings to stop the loop and what have you. But they didn't. It was a case of, oh, you have to go to this person during the morning thingamadiggy, and then you spend the middle, like the early afternoon wasting away to then use the late afternoon to kill, 2 different people. But then you spend, god damn it, but then you spend like the evening killing 3 people at the party before you go off onto like this rocket ship or something. And it's like, okay, cool, but it would have been great to have like maybe 2 or 3 different ways of like trying to get everyone killed rather than this one way.
Yeah.
You're coming out of that hole.
Plug it up.
There we go. Is that all of them? Yep. Oh, no, one more.
Don't shoot Dom, he's got a wife to live for.
Correct order is one thing, but the biggest issue is the time limit and the girl out for your life. No, the girl out for your life, I think was a clever, I think that was a clever little addition. And like, if you didn't want, like, if you wanted like a little extra challenge from players and such like that, I think that worked fairly well. No, I never felt like, super juked out by them. It felt like extra rewarding to... It felt extra rewarding whenever I like escaped from an area when there was like a player of the antagonist in my game, as opposed to, not having them. So, yeah, I would have preferred the game offering not just one correct method, but like
Baird,
2 or
what's the
3.
status on that APC?
Kind of like how in Batman Arkham City, when you're like one of the boss fights. Yes, I've played the Arkham series already. It's tempting to play it like on stream again, but I'm not one of those kinds of nostalgic streamers to play a game I've already played all over again. Like BioShock, I don't look forward to like playing again. I use that as like a filler. Anywho's, when you're going up against Mr. Freeze in the second Arkham game, Arkham City, you have like 8 different ways of defeating him. You have to beat him 3 times. Like, you have to, like, do a takedown on him 3 times. But each time you do a takedown on him, he prevents that method from being able to be used on him again. So, believe it or not, you can break through windows, like, going around the corners, or going from the grates underneath him, going from the gargoyles, or doing actually stopping his freeze gun, because you've got, like, the little, like, EMP, like, cancel outer thingamadiggy, and use that, so then that way his gun fails on him and you just run up right in front of him and do the whole like takedown thing. So you have like multiple ways of taking on Mr. Freeze, so no 2 players are like, it's still likely they'll take him down the same way, but the sequence of like the 3 methods might not be the same, or the second player might not use the same last 2 methods.
Did you feel that?
It's gotta be another hole.
You really need to use your cover a bit more effectively, Grant. You're sort of out in the open a lot there.
Yeah, that's fair. is
The
what it is.
Nasher shotgun's actually really good. I find that one's a really good weapon for in this area. But you like things to go boom, don't you?
Boom. Hang on.
Things that make you go boom.
Ah! Damn!
Once again, I forgot to.
I really like that mechanic where you can jam the gun.
I think it's cool. Like, between jamming the gun because you try to reload too soon, or the gun jamming because, you know, there's... Jamming the gun because, you know, you didn't... Ah, goddammit, I missed one. Jamming the gun because, you know, you didn't keep it up to, you know, snuff with maintenance or something like that, like in Far Cry 2 or in Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm not a fan of that method because, quite honestly, I'm always cleaning my gun. Like, the fact that I do the whole, like, you know, I haven't finished a full clip, but I'm still going to... Oh, wait, hang on, let me try this.
Out of that hole.
Plug it up.
There we go. I didn't...
See, there you go.
Yep, so the boom boom works.
Mm-hmm.
Can I... Nope, he won't let me climb up that. If you have the boom shot, just aim at the holes of... I just realized that now.
Yeah.
I see two.
I even forgot about that one.
They just need, like, a big enough explosion, basically.
Incoming frag.
Oh, god damn it! I thought I was using that thing on him. Never mind. Alright. So, do this. And then... Wait for the hole to form.
You're coming out of that hole.
Plug it up.
Yeah, if you do it too early, it doesn't block it.
Yep. Alrighty, so... This one? Oh, I see. They want me to... They just juke me. It's just like, oh, you thought they were going to come from that side? Well, they came from this side.
Yeah, cool.
Nice.
Is Dom okay? I keep hearing him stomping.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Upstairs is clear.
Baird, what's the status on an APC?
Status is that it sucks. The clutch plate is cracked. I'm gonna have to take out the flywheel.
Yeah. Hi there, Ruby. Welcome, welcome.
Drive shaft for sure.
Just
Zeebs
fix
of
it.
War. Nice. It
Right.
goes. I'm still in Act 4.
I can do that.
I've died a few times in this house because, you know, I've been an idiot. Another hole.
Did you feel that?
It's gotta be another hole.
3, 2. Oh, is it gonna wait for me to get down?
Probably.
I think that's the first time I heard Mark is in like these interactions go, fuck you.
Oh, yeah.
Go. And that's all of them. Oh, where the fuck did you come from? He did that to me last time. Asshole. Yeah, thank you for maintaining your watch streak, Ruby. I appreciate it. How has Borderlands 2 been?
Borderlands 2, that is the game I really need to get back in and play again.
There's a cellar. Let's go.
The line just doing there. Oh my gosh, this is terrible. I want to button mash this, but... Oh, there we go. Hey, grenade. Grenade, sorry, not singular.
Fire in the hole!
That was such a squelch.
Quiet. Hey! It's all clear out here!
Damn it!
Get the hell out, Cole.
Whoa, sorry, baby.
The coal train go choo choo.
There's nothing we can do about it. Keep moving.
Okay, cool. Nothing secret here. Okay. Oh. Dom is taking forever.
APC's online. We're coming in.
Jack, rip. Copy that.
Was Jack in the first game?
Yeah, he's always been in the first game.
Okay, because like the fact that he like just is invisible all the time, I'm just sort of like, what the? We just have that technology?
There's only one.
He's always been the first. He's always been in the first game. He's got like an active camouflage on, so that way the enemy don't target him.
Yep. There we go. Oh, clustered left. There we go.
Oops, network here.
Oh shit! Here they come! Keep him away from Jack!
It's fine. There we go.
Marcus, it's open.
Thank you. It looks like he's just like running from the toilet, trying not to get like shit on his like back legs as he goes for a tissue or a toilet paper roll in the other room.
Oh god! Oh god! Oh god! Oh god! Oh god! Oh god!
No! 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 No!
Oh,
No!
no.
What were you saying earlier about the lottery? Oh, just like there's Americans, even
Jack,
that they
log
know
in and
the
see what
lottery
you can
is
find.
just not a good win or anything like that, and they know like this game is usually stacked against them. There's always that hopefulness where they're like,
All right, on you.
they'll make the victory so much sweeter when I win it.
I'm bringing up the data now. Stand by.
What are we looking at?
They're focus tunnels. Doesn't seem possible. There can't be these many tunnels. It's a honeycomb. The planet's crust is riddled with them. They're everywhere.
I take it that qualifies as enough data to get the job done?
More than enough.
Then let's get out of here. Start pulling the data.
I can't. The files are too big for this bandwidth.
Then we'll take them with us. Jack, download this data.
Confirmed, but it'll take a
I
while.
love how he's just like, oh yeah, we don't have the bandwidth. It's like, then it just takes longer for us to sit here.
Give us your location.
Front of the house, second story. Hurry up.
We're on our way.
Frag. Fasten your hole? What the shit?
I thought he said back in your hole.
Oh, okay.
We're on the second story. We need backup. Yeah, whoa! Bring it on, sucker. This is that kind of shit. Seriously, now.
Let's move out! Right behind you!
Thank you for sticking with me, Dom, as we get through all this. Take a turnaround. Cookie for Vol. Here's your cookie, Vol.
The locusts are in the courtyard.
Yeah, I'm trying
Get
to.
up here, will ya?
Wretches!
Oh, this is Wow, you're being so helpful, Dom.
I mean, he's an NPC. If you expect him to be any less or any more helpful?
For the hyper himbo ball, but I don't appreciate you stealing my shirt.
Hey, if all of my chat have a shirt tax that I have to pay up, you have a shirt tax too.
Fuck you.
Front of the house, second story. Hurry up!
Heard you the first time.
Don't mind if I do.
Marcus isn't exactly a fast mover.
Well, I mean, there's all that armor and the fact that he's built like a brick shit house. And the fact that the only way he can run is if he's got a dookie hanging between his legs.
Yeah, just... Artemis, meanwhile, is pleased.
Look who decided to show up. Locusts are outside! Cole and I'll go protect the APC while you wait for Jack. Keep them out of the house!
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, wait, what am I thinking?
I need ammo.
Oh, what? My ammo.
No blamos!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it could be worse.
Also, you're running through fire. That's unfair. Also, you made locust holes in the house. Why don't you just do that again?
Epic?
Oh, yeah. Ah, damn it.
More locusts, back of the house!
Got it. I need ammo.
Hammer burst. Although I'm not a fan of the hammer burst, so
Nice.
nice. Marcus, you have some very limited very limited motion range.
Damn it.
Ah. You're good at being in two places at once.
Oh, now you have a grenade.
Are you kidding me?
There we go.
And a hole. Yeah, that was easy. First try, Batman style.
Yep, first try, I think so.
Yeah, let Lego Batman.
Oh, yeah.
I I pick up what you put down in terms of references. Don't you worry, don't you worry. I just wish these ammo boxes would give me things as well.
Nice!
Pretty good at, like, this, you know, reloading thing. With, like,
Marcus, Jack's got the data.
nice.
Everybody move to the APC, now! The one that I fixed? Oh, yeah!
Oh, okay. We got a sprinting thing to do. Okay, never mind.
Frag out!
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah!
That big guy is big.
Yep, big guy's big.
I'll take that.
Come on, come on!
Nice!
Uh-oh. I guess I had a time limit. Yeah, I had a time limit. I forgot about the time limit. Let's try this again. Get to the APC now. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I just sort of bolted to it.
Marcus, Jack's got the data.
Everybody move to the APC, now! The one that I fixed? Frag out!
I would just run. Don't even worry about it.
Oh, yeah! Got it.
You got 30 seconds. Run like she's gonna give you the clap.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Never mind.
Yep.
Come on, come on!
I think you even get to ride one of those in the later games. The Brumac.
Control, this is Delta.
Hey, we're at
Out, and we have the mapping data. Over.
Yay!
The train is leaving now. The lightmass bomb is mounted and ready to deploy.
Wait, the bomb is on a train?
Affirmative. Command identified an emulsion sinkhole as our primary target. The train's going to deliver the bomb. Your targeting data will do the rest.
So where to now?
You'll rendezvous with the train at Timgad Station.
Copy that. Delta out. Look out! Hang on!
Alright, I've got to head off because I got to do a few things.
Shit.
All good.
This figures.
I will talk to you
get
later.
through this as best as I can. Oh, there's the Raiders! Hi, Raiders!
You're with me.
Welcome, Alpha Wolf God. Welcome, Raiders.
Hurry up,
My
man.
name is Grant. I'm a variety himbo streamer. I go through games of nostalgia, mostly games I haven't played before, or brand new games. I am currently going through Gears of War because never played Gears of War before, so no spoilers, please, as I go through this series. Back on Monday, I started playing the first Gears of War via Gears of War Reloaded, so now I'm, you know, getting through...
Probably the last of it tonight. I will most likely get to the last of it tonight. There we go. Alright, let me just not be in the danger zone. Since this is a remaster, they're showing more action than the OG had in their cutscenes.
Control, this is Delta. We're stuck at an open drawbridge. We need to restore power to this sector. Please advise.
Copy that, Delta. Stand by. I see downed electrical lines near your location. Follow the waterfront to Nassau Memorial Park and attempt to repair.
Roger that. Dom, you're with me. Baird, Cole, you two guard the APC.
This is nuts. There's gotta be another way.
Baird, my squad, my call. Be ready to move as soon as the power comes back online.
Whatever, boss man.
Alright, so they're going to the... Oh, we're repairing the power line. Alright, let me get the... And grenade while I'm at it.
You sounded just like your old man back there.
Yeah, well, screw my old man. He thought he could prevent this war, and look what happened.
Yeah, well, now his mapping data is gonna help end it.
Somehow, I don't think he'd appreciate the irony.
Yeah, once again, no idea about his dad, or whether or not he's alive or dead at this point. Oh. Remember, no spoilers, please. I don't want, like, a little thing explaining to me that, like, yes, he is alive, or no, he's dead by this point. Gonna be. Oh. There we go. Thank you for the Rainbow Rush. I greatly appreciate it. Let's try and get through this as best we can. Ooh, is there a tag here? Not really. Oh, am I actually going the right direction?
Marcus.
Oh, look.
Satellite update shows
Motorcycles.
Nassau Park crawling with locust activity. There's an alternate route, but you'll have to backtrack to the bridge.
No time. Baird, you copy this?
Don't we have a train to catch?
Coordinate with Control, get to those lines. We'll clear the park and meet you there.
We're on it.
Nice. Good night, Z's. Wishing you the best on your stream. Thank you so much, Alpha God. Hopefully you had a wonderful time in the Monster Hunter Wilds. I certainly am enjoying it with the most recent patch that's doing like performance uplifts and what have you, so. That did not work as intended. Damn it! Irony aside, you got something good from whatever his dad did. Let's see if it'll work out well for your mission. Hopefully so. Hopefully so. There we go. Did that plug the hole at least? Yes, it did.
Oh my God! Up there!
In here? Nope, not at all. Come on, get out of here. Nope. Nothing here, so wrong direction. Going? Is it through there? Because of like that area had a enemy going through? Yep, looks like. Alright, let's give this a try. So checkpoint. Break down this door. The map design, like, I'm glad it's linear, but by God, do you not have like a good idea?
Yo, what's up?
Gotta be close to those power lines. Can you see anything up there?
I think so. Just up ahead, across the park by that old theater.
Move out and get Jack to start the repairs. We'll meet you at the power lines.
It's game time, baby!
Alright, fighting. Here we go again. Oh, there was so many more people there. Okay. My bad. My bad. this is a terrible embankment
Night
position.
Sky Gem favorite saying is to bed. Good night, every pony you need.
Night Sky, thank you for coming along. I greatly appreciate it. Go. Where's the...
We got this. Find those power lines.
Got it.
Nearly died then, but hey, we're alive. Uh-oh. There we go. Swap over to 2, pick up the frag grenade, pick up the boom shot. Where's the other boom shot? Go. Oh yeah, I probably need to replenish my ammo. Okay, so you had a torque bow there. And then... powered lines, yep, cool. Is this the right way? Hopefully this is the right... Nope. Of course this isn't the right way. Why would I think it was? Oh, now I can kick the doors. Nice. Dom, seriously, stay close.
Delta, the train commander reports that Locusts are heading their way. What's your status?
We're
Approaching
busy.
Power lines now.
Be advised, the train is accelerating to avoid capture. Your timetable just got a whole lot shorter.
Copy that.
Holy shit, it's back.
Keep that thing away from the power lines.
No problem. Watch this. Hey, stupid! You want some of this? Come and get me! Get out of there! Go, 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 go! Are you totally insane?
Alright. Let's put that one away to good use. Yes, I may be stupid. There we go. They're all dead. No problems whatsoever. Did it!
Say again, Control. You're breaking up.
That doesn't sound good. Think we can still make it in time?
We don't. We're gonna spend the rest of our lives running from shit like this.
Cool. Alright.
It's too hot!
Oh, I see. I have to... You can't just sprint through it? Okay. 2, 3, 4... Okay, cool. I was worried it was going to take us, like, way more than 4
Mac's
turns.
gone, thank you very much, and we're headed back to the power line.
Another blue max there.
Damn it, Bear! Get the hell out of here! Over there!
Why is it determined as a tiger after prey? Because it really wants it. Oh, there's Jack with the power line.
Let's grab some ammo.
Shit, we've got a grab hole!
Keep him away from Jack.
Snipers!
Okay, I need to grab it. Oh, I don't have the sniper rifle. Sniper rifle. God damn it.
Romac! Marcus, we gotta slow it down.
Shoot the legs!
It's still coming.
Aim for his feet!
Shit, here it comes.
Alright. We're not gonna help any further.
Almost had us that time.
Now what?
Jack, rip that door. You guys make it out okay?
We're alive.
Where the fuck is Jack? Oh, there's Jack.
Control, this is Delta.
All right,
We've
thank goodness.
repaired
I
the
thought Jack
power
was still
lines, but
outside.
There's a Brumac here. Please advise. Over. On ya.
Must be a zebra. Ugh, close.
Okay, looks like we're on our own. And we need to hustle. There, Cole. Regroup with us behind this.
His
theater.
model isn't even moving his lips when he is on the radio, like in game. I just realized that.
There has to be a back door. Let's split up. We'll find it faster.
I'll head upstairs. You check the main hall for a back door.
Marcus! Now no cedar!
No hammer dog. Shit. They gotta think of something else.
Oh, God damn it.
Marcus, hey! Shoot down the wall!
Right in the ass.
Marcus, hey! Shoot down the wall!
There we go. pickup. They can be anywhere. Call it in. Save a life. Should a rifle be close to the door or ticket station? Yeah. For protection.
Help me out here, Dom. Move that wall over.
Can you move that wall?
Yes, I can, and it gets me closer. I don't know if that's the correct, like, rotation speed, but okay. Alright, so I'm guessing that was, like, another, like, extra thing that Gears of War Reloaded did that wasn't in the first Gears of War.
It's right there.
Oh, it's real close.
Man, that thing has chased us everywhere. Okay, what now, boss?
Control, this is Delta. Do you read?
They probably don't
Shit,
read.
still out. Okay, the only way we can catch that train is with Anya's help. So re-establishing comlink is our top priority. Let's find that cedar.
Window shopping. Alright, all of my crew is relatively trigger happy, it seems. Oh, nice. So, just talk text. We need an ammo dump and fast. I've got enough ammo, I reckon. Just, don't have these guys blocking my way.
Born away.
Ammo dump. There we go. Hi there. Welcome back, Izzy. You're now busy in the kitchen. Excellent that you were able to get through the grocery shopping and not eat any of the food by the time you got to the kitchen. Good work. I am currently at Act 5 now, so I'm now into, like, I think what is the final act, and I just need to try and get to a train.
See them below.
Yeah, and no freaking hammer.
So we'll improvise.
Shoot the tank.
Try blowing that truck.
Hey, nice.
That was beautiful, baby.
Alright. I left y'all as you were about to start your elves rant, and I just realized maybe the reason why a lot of elf tropes feel wrong is because they would make a good analogy for Empire, but no one wants to talk about it.
This
Yeah,
is
no, like
the
I am very much on your side with that one, Izzy. Is the idea that elves very much can be used as an allegory for like empires, whether it's existing empires from monarchies turned into, you know, democracies, or, you know, just crazy empires and what have you. Like,
if power can be
restored, into the talk related to
that will be the place to do it.
Yeah.
Roger.
Like I'm very much with you on that one, Izzy. There's a lot of like, I feel like there's a lot of fantasy nonsense that you and I can agree on, and we just, you know. Oops. All right, can we go over this? Yes, we can. There's like a lot of random fantasy nonsense we'd probably be in, like, you know, most of the agreement with. Damn you. Go. There we go. But yeah, so the monarchies in Lord of the Rings were already unstable over the battle for Sauron's ring. The human ones, yes, because they were like, you know, the 9 rings of like, for mortal men desire power and stuff like that. Like, that was definitely done by Sauron and what have you. But I think with the elves, they knew they were dying. So like the kingdom, like the empires that existed for the elves and what have you, they were very much in a, you know, transitionary stage of like, oh, we're not interested in, you know, doing the whole like rebuilding our empires. We're just going to accept death, which is, you know, very unlike the British Empire that existed. It was more of the, like, the British Empire wishes that they did like a small transition of power into the monarchy that they did, but, or the monarchy to the republic that they did. Oh, shit. Okay, if I can just aim a little better, that would be good. Like that. There we are. And boom. Alright, ooh, grab the frag grenades while I can. That would be great. Thank you. So, because I'm pretty sure, like, the monarchy turned to the republic was not a... Aren't they already fighting for a right of succession thing right now? What, in Lord of the Rings, or in Britain with their monarchy, with the republic representing the monarchy? I don't think there is a fight for succession right now. There's just, you know, a lot of baggage. Once again, getting distracted with the active reloading. Serious, Cole? You could have, like, you know, chainsawed him if you could. But he didn't. Thank you for the don't care, Jack Raiden. I do appreciate it. Don't care. Air plus boobs bounce when I walk. It's a great shirt. I love it. Such a silly... Ah, shit!
Just don't die.
There we go. More ammunition, please. Thank you. I think this is a funny shirt to have. So, remember this and use it on the locusts. Well, the boobs bounce when I walk. Oh, shit. Only took me like 3 grenade tries to do it, which was a little, you know, terrible. I don't care, I don't care, didn't ask, cry about it. Out at L mold seat, cope. I think I have that as like a bit redeem. I can't remember the exact value for the bit redeem to be like, you know, playing the Russian Badger video of don't care, didn't ask, cry about it, L mold seat, cope. And Cole is just all the way at the front, the fucking coal train over here. Jesus. Come on. Probably too long, but you get the message. Yeah! Got that right. Go. Gotcha. We reached the power plant. Cold train, a trooper in here. Yeah,
this just goes from
making
bad
his way through
to worse.
This really sucks.
Control, we're at Timgad Central Energy.
Copy that. What's your status?
Just moving in now. Wish us luck.
Ugh.
Baird, Cole, take Jack and head right. Dom, let's get that power online.
Alright, let's do this. Quick, so I got full ammo. Okay, I was definitely risking it there, but, you know, thank Christ Dom was...
I was wrong. It
What?
wasn't the Stranded tapping the grid, it was these guys. They're taking it underground. All of it.
Tell me you can fix it.
I'm working on it. Damn it, Jack, the other circuit. But you'll need to turn off some panels up there.
What are we looking for?
Panels, you know, green glowing lights, valves.
Alright. Oh, okay, so we need to find it from down there. Oh, and there's the what's-mahoozy guy again. Damn, I didn't realize he was like a more souped up, like, Bowser, basically.
We are so screwed.
There we go. Alright, turning the thing. Don't worry about me. Just...
It's working. Get one more.
Damn it! He threw a fucking arrow at me. Oh, no, not back to the main menu. We're gonna continue it from the checkpoint. Damn it. Okay, so we have to be on this side in order to get down there. Darn it. Bonk. And then can't get through from there, so we gotta go up the stairs. They definitely changed some things here in the original. Yep. One, two, three, four.
It's working. Get one more.
Go under here. Pick up the ammo.
Come on! Turn off that panel!
Yeah, bit busy right now, okay? There's the other one. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Nice! Stand by, I'm gonna open a door for you. There's
Thank
one
you.
last panel in that room. Transfer it to me.
Oh, he's down there. Okay. Alright, and then the last panel is down there, so...
Oh yeah, I got enough for all of you.
Good for you, Cole. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, we're done. Wait. Oh, shit!
Now what?
Power levels are good, but we need to jump the transformer polarity.
How do we do that?
We can't. We'll need a full set of tools, enough rated cable to connect 2 transform blocks, an interrupt to manage levels.
What the hell? You mean we're stuck?
Yeah. Unless you can pull something out of your ass big enough to connect 2 transformers.
Oh, I have an idea.
Something big enough to fit between those things out front? I think I just solved our problem. Dom, think we can get the Brumac to chase us?
Hasn't been a problem up till now.
There. Open the back door for us.
Alrighty. You're thinking the same? Yeah, just basically getting the bear to hit the 2 transformers, and so then there would like be a large amount of energy going between the bears.
There it is. Now what?
Now, we piss it off.
Alright, so I'm trying to...
Aim for the arm. Aim for the arm.
Yeah, I hear you. Just give me a minute.
Look at those arm guns.
Dom, can you, like, you know, not die, please?
One down. Look at those arm guns.
That's 2. How do we take out the big gun?
Vulnerable
Bring 'em
legs.
down to our level so we can get a shot at him. Kill the driver. Let's take this
roast this thing. Run to the transformers.
Where?
Over there. The access road. The fence is open. Run!
Alright, run in. Okay, cool. I don't have to run myself. I just need him to be an idiot. Alright, I think that got him.
And I thought the food in prison smelled bad.
Good work, Eric Marcus. Not as funny as Leon, but, you know, it is what it is.
Marcus, we've lost control of the train. Now you'll have to catch it as it passes through Timgad Station.
Roger that.
Jump on a moving train and try to recapture a bomb. This day just keeps getting better and better.
Alright. Hopefully should be easy enough. Shock tree. Alright, get to the train. Oh shit, sniper. Good thing I was running to the...
Oh yeah!
What in the shit?
Oh yeah!
Take cover!
Look out! Got one! Lock and load!
Sniper!
Bring it! Sweet.
Okay, let me just swap that to run.
Good shot.
Go.
Let's go!
Ah, okay. Yep. I pick up what you're putting down.
Here it comes!
Onto the train we go, realizing now I haven't heard this style of movie action score for a while. You've heard this kind of music before?
Let's go! Let's go!
Amazing they didn't get their legs, like, knocked off. Not gonna lie, the score for this game is lit. Alright.
Damn it, we suck! We'll catch you right on...
Hang on, let's do this. Let's do an 8, 5, and then...
Raven. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. Anya, what are we looking at?
Okay, the bomb is at the front of the train, and there are plenty of locusts on board. You've got to get going now.
Let's move out. Oh yeah! Back in your hole. Good to go.
Ammo, thank you.
fucking move!
Okay, I thought the red thing would explode, but I guess not.
Got one! Nice!
Oh, okay, it's getting helpful as fuck right now.
Scratch one to run.
We've got Nemesis on the radar.
That's not good.
Move in!
Button, thank you.
Damn it. Jack, open this door.
Oh, good thing Jack was able to, like, float here.
Now what?
Are you kidding me? Berserker!
Oh. And then it just has all this crate of what looks to be cereal.
Anya, we're using the Hammer of Dawn right now.
Negative, Delta, you can't. Not with all those Nemesis stinking the sky.
Fine, we'll go to Plan B. You got a Plan B?
What? Hell no.
Shit.
Disconnect the card!
There we go.
Piece of shit!
Do I have any grenades? I don't think so. What the fuck are those? I never seen them before. Oh, wait, no, I have. Okay, I just haven't seen them flying before.
The door's open, Marcus. Move! Quick!
How big is this train? Is this gonna be like a kilometer long or something like that? Like classic Americans?
Phoenix, Hoffman's picked us up. We're on our way.
Affirmative.
Thank you.
Here they come.
Out there, Beavers! Take cover!
Ow. Hi there, Wild Saber. Hooray! Your artist finally finished your starting soon screen for your stream. Hey, congratulations on getting a starting soon screen. Sounds real good. Hopefully it goes out fairly well. When are you planning to stream next?
Hoffman's picked us up. We're on our way.
Affirmative.
Here they come.
Not there, Beavers! Take cover! Ah, come on! Ah, come on!
Damn it. There we go.
Let's keep moving.
That's one grub.
Oh wait, there was a what's Mahuzi here I can grab.
Delta, good news. You've got chain guns on the roof of your car.
We gotta get to the roof! There's a ladder.
I'm on it.
Thank you, thank you.
Watch our back.
Chain gun time.
That's the ugliest damn thing I've ever seen.
Come on. Get closer, get closer, get closer. There we go. How many of these are there?
Get there, tough. And then there were none.
Let's go! Wretches!
Doesn't matter. We need to get to that bomb.
Down we go.
Anya, what the hell is happening?
You've got wretches. 4 cars ahead. They're cutting the power. Hurry before they cut you loose.
Let's move.
Oh yeah!
So, car 1. Oh wait, probably want those grenades.
Nice.
Car number 2 next.
Nice!
Grab that. Nope, that don't do, so... Where is the next... Unless... Oh, do I have to kick down that door instead? Meow. No, okay. Oh, there we go.
Reavers! Come on!
God damn it, Dom.
Lock and load. Who's next? Oh, shit.
Alright. Dom, where the... Oh, Dom's already revived, and he's making his way ahead.
Wretches. Animus. Over there!
Damn, Jack, open this door.
Jack opening the door? Yes, he is.
Marcus! There!
Ah, come on!
Is something supposed to happen?
Oh yeah!
Ah, okay, I see. It's just a... Very predictable.
Up there!
They're really adding new areas for this remaster? Okay, so this is all new. The whole, like, climbing up the... I'm guessing the story then was, like, a lot shorter, and this one is, like, trying to make it so it's, like, at least 8 hours long, if they can.
Multiple contacts!
Alright.
Only got a few more seconds.
We'll pick you up as soon as we plant the data.
Woo! Yeah, baby! Come on, man! Take him out! It's your house, baby!
Oh, yeah.
Your house! Give it a pay!
We have to jump!
Come on, let me... There we go. Keep the train from stopping.
You're approaching target. GPS shows that you've picked up speed. You don't have much time.
Let's go!
Yeah,
We're almost
I'm
there!
going. You know, get me through here. No, the train was in the original, but they added more cars compared to how it was before. Ah, okay, okay. I will pick up the grenades.
Sweet.
And then dog tag, because I can. Duty squad. And then Lancer assault rifle. We've already done the maximum.
Let's do this.
Alright!
Marcus, you've got to drop that data right now!
You still have it?
Oh yeah, I do. Right here.
Alright. What the fuck is... That guy's just aura farming.
Wow! Engage!
Nice. Gotta take on this dude.
Reavers! Engage!
Enemy spotted!
Eat dirt and die! Behind us!
God damn it, Dom. Ah, damn it, the Reaver was on the side there. Gosh darn it. Prepare for the most annoying boss in here and in the original. I was too busy eating dinner, but the composer I was thinking of was John Williams of Star Wars fame. Is it John Williams of Star Wars fame in this game?
Marcus, you've got it!
Reavers!
Enemy spotted!
Dirt and die!
Damn it. I don't definitely don't remember the last couple of eras of action movie scores sounding like this, but then again, maybe I don't watch enough Marvel movies. Well, this was from 2006, so this was just at the tail end of, or like, this was just at like sort of the start slash like beginning of the whole what's-a-mahoozy Marvel Cinematic Universe nonsense.
Engage!
There you go.
Enemy spotted! Dirt die! Behind us!
Oh, come on. It's in a get nabbed it. All right, so they want us to try and kill the man and deploy the data. I think I'm gonna just try and deploy the data.
Let's do this.
Ding. Swap to 2. Getting gilbed. The krill are the worst part of this. Somehow, in the first attempt, I was not getting hit by the krill, and now I'm getting hit by them all the time.
Let's do this.
Reavers!
Fucking not.
Behind us!
Nope, almost jumped off the fucking train. Thank goodness for invisible walls. Ah! Nope, not exit to the... Here we go. Come on. I can do this. I can get to the end here. I promise.
Let's do this.
Reavers! Engage! Whoa! Get it! Enemy spotted!
Damn it, he got right in front of me. Ah! Alright, let me just reload you real quick. Alright, so I got grenades.
Let's do this.
Reavers!
What the fuck was that? Even the AI still tries to put itself in harm's way. Yeah. like, it's annoying. It's not like Mass Effect where you can be like, hey, you stand there. It's like, it doesn't do that.
Reavers!
Once again, hitting the... Come on.
Let's do this.
Tail horse.
Reavers! Enemy spotted! Eat dirt and die! Behind us!
Oh, come on! So close to getting behind that wall, and he just gives me again. Dom, just, you know... Don't run into him, okay? Just please.
Reavers!
No, you're an idiot. Dom, I am leaving you behind. Come on. There we go. Never mind, I need Dom alive. Call Dom back to regroup. Why does he run ahead? Like, is it just forever on attack mode? Is that why? Because I just, like, left him on attack mode one time, and then it's just like...
Let's do this.
Reavers! Enemy spotted!
Let's do this.
Reavers! Engage!
damn it, Dom, you idiot.
Die! Behind us!
Oh, come on. He's annoying because I have no idea how much health he has. I really have no idea if I'm like...
Let's do this.
Reavers!
Dom, you're a fuckwit. An assassination, the leader must be executed. Win the round. Why are you giving me...
do this.
Hello! Hello, Masonic. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing alright. I hope you're having a better time than I am.
Engage! Whoa! Enemy spotted!
Just vibing, drinking coffee, watching your favorite himbos suffer. Yeah, I'm suffering alright. Some of the larger locusts are only vulnerable to the Hammer of Dawn. Is he vulnerable to the Hammer of Dawn?
Reavers!
I was behind cover? Like, what was that? Can't use the Hammer of Dawn. Yeah, because the satellites are offline and there's all these, like, things in the sky.
Let's do this.
Reavers! Engage! Enemy spotted! Eat dirt, die! Behind us!
And the krill attack if you're in a standing position at all. Oh, so if it's in standing position behind cover or stand.
Let's do this.
Sometimes.
Reavers!
Marcus, get back, you idiot.
Dirt, die! Behind us!
And I fucked up. Alright, is there a different weapon I can use in this train? Alright, so we got long shot, we got frags, grab you. So we're already max ammo on a lot of different things. So... here we go.
Let's do this.
Reavers!
Hopefully this will do good. Nah, okay. So that's a falsehood, unless I can... If I could direct him to, like, getting onto the thingy, then maybe then that would be better, but I don't have a way of getting Dom to go onto the fucking turret, do I?
Let's do this.
Reavers!
Ravers!
Engage!
Thank you, Sir Dragon, for the resub. I greatly appreciate it.
Eat dirt and die! Behind us!
Oh, come on! I was crouched. I was behind cover. The turret is more or less a trap in its own way.
Let's do this.
Reavers! Engage!
Is Cole and Baird gonna, like, do anything for us, or is they just keeping the krill that is, like, the larger amount of krill off him?
Eat dirt and die!
crouching cover. Yes, thank you.
Let's do this.
I am suffering right now.
What's new?
I'm dealing with the, like, what I think is, like, the final boss named Ram with 2 A's. And he's got, like, this, you know... It's bullshit. I do not understand if I'm doing the right thing or not. Like, because there's, like, krill or something like that, and it's like, if you stay standing up for too long, then the krill come after you or something like that.
Enemy spotted!
So, like, I'm trying to... Like that. Oh, where'd Velk go?
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. For whatever reason, the Obiet...
It broke.
Like, the Fugi broke. I wonder why that is. Like, do I have to, like, log in again? Is that why? Yeah, I probably need to reauthorize it is the problem. That's on my side.
I also need to restart Discord, so...
Reactive running, reactive can see you're ready to go. Cool, awesome. Do I need to restart?
Restarting Discord.
Yeah, let's go with that. Fugatech seems to always be breaking something, maybe. But yeah, let's do the putting out of Discord. Oh yeah, look at that. Like the little Discord thingamajiggy is there. Checking for updates. Here we go. God damn this fucking game. Am I gonna spend like the next hour trying to get through that level? Probably. Alright. So it says, cannot find Discord running on the computer. What do you mean? It's right here. It's right here. The Discord is running right now. The other thing is you need to keep your distance from Ram. Stay close and then it will attack you close up, or Ram will fire with his Gatling. Yeah, no, I get that. It's just... The thing that gets me is just how it feels like such a battle of attrition right now with him, where it's just like, I don't have an understanding of like how close to, because normally like with most like small enemies, it's like, yeah, you can just do either one full clip of like something like this, or it's an entire, or it's just like one shot with a sniper rifle. But I don't know if it's a, okay, hang on.
Okay!
Like, it's this. Like, this is the part I'm not... Like, am I meant to, like, have... And then...
Behind us!
And Dom was an idiot.
Woo! Reavers!
Yes, I hear you, Cole. Reavers. You said that so many times at the start of the... You've been saying that so many times at the start. Thank goodness he doesn't have grenades. Oh, cool. I'm out of ammo now.
There's another! Krill!
revive. There we go. Nope, no.
Eat dirt and die!
Had to lose a lot with a choke when I finally got him. Wait, does... Again, it's like... Ugh. Pick you up, so then that way that thing gets like huge amounts of ammo.
Let's
you
do this.
double click your aim. Ah, okay.
Reavers!
I have to hold down for aim, so.
Engage! Enemy spotted!
Tom, don't be an idiot. And Dom was an idiot.
Eat dirt and die! Behind us!
Pain.
Let's do this.
Swear to Christ, if I
Reavers!
this dialogue options again.
Enemy spotted! Eat dirt and die! Behind us!
Go Dom.
Die, groundwater! Die, groundwater! Wow! Reavers! Kill it!
Is he just absorbing my grenades?
Die, sweet dear.
Once again, behind cover, crouched. Does it just not like the rails?
Let's do this.
Most annoying boss so far. Ever. And got hit because he's got like the fucking... Oh boy, here we go. This is gonna suck.
Let's do this.
Reavers!
Oh, it's middle mouse button.
Engage! Enemy spotted!
After all this time, I now know.
Die!
Where the fuck is Dom?
Whoa! Reverse! Get it!
Can Cole and Baird, like, you know, get onto fucking turrets?
There's another!
Ah, finally! Fucking finally! He's invulnerable when he has the shroud shoot after he... Oh, God, I wish I...
Let's do this!
Wish I read this earlier. Also, hi there, Sabin! Welcome, welcome! I'm gonna need to add you to the auto shout-out thingamadiggy.
Here we go.
Alright, so... Hopefully this is getting towards the end of the first game.
Hey, on our way.
Okay, so the train has no proper stop. Alright, we're running.
Down! Let's go, let's go! Marcus! Hold still!
Damn it!
At that point, I would have, like, just tried to do a jump. There we go. The fuck kind of bomb? Wait, is it? Oh, it's a missile. Okay. That's cool.
So, what are we doing tomorrow?
Oh yeah, this basically took part in the span of like a day for them.
Your gears successfully deployed the light mass bomb.
This is all technically done in a day.
Destroyed the enemy stronghold. This
Okay,
war
also-
has
so, yeah.
accepted a heavy price from all of us. It has torn our world apart. But you have my word that we will rise again.
Aha.
They do not understand. They do not know why we wage this war. Why we cannot stop. Will not stop.
I'm sorry.
Fight
What?
and fight and fight. Until we win
Why is she humanoid? Like,
or we die.
why does she look nothing like the locust that?
We are not dead yet.
Okay. Cool. I don't feel like I skipped that much of Gears of War 1. Like, I know that there's like, you know, if you collect the thingy-madiggies, you'll get like some... Leadership team, studio head. Why is there so many Gears of War for the Xbox 360? Cliff Belinsky. First and foremost, like, War Journal, cog tags. So, like, we got one page of the unseen. Sorry I didn't call this week's video. The comms were down. I can't say where we are. OPSEC and all that. And then, like, you know, random. And then all these are locked behind you know, finding more of the cogs. And then that's like unsaid from pendulum, like thingy-madoog. And then, oh my goodness. Now you played it start to finish. Yes, I played it start to finish, and there are elements that I'm just like not 100% understanding. So Jacinto maximum security prison. So we brought out of that. We head to the House of Sovereigns. The unknown. And then from here, into the factory, the viaducts. Act 3, we head to the emulsion factory, heading down underground. And then this one, we head to Phoenix Estate through a conservatory, East Barricade Academy. I barely remember being in Adam Phoenix's lab after going through the cellar. It was like sort of a blink and you miss it. And then we went through here to get onto the train. And yeah, we've gone through the comics. COG Defense Research at Agency Jacinto. Oh god, it's Marcus. Don't worry, Professor, I didn't sound like bad news. Adam Phoenix here, just letting you know that C Company being deployed to the Aksatsu refinery. You wanted to keep in loop. Appreciate that. Thank you. It's Marcus's first tour of duty. He could have read physics at Deloitte Cross. I never wanted him to enlist. I wish I could. Weapon development wins wars. Remember that, Neville. This work matters. Never mind. I'd only fail the Army Medical anyway. I've been working on the Hammer of Dawn for nearly 13 years. If I didn't believe it could stop the war, I'd have stayed in the army. But we're as far from getting it operational as ever. It's just the beam alignment. We'll crack it. We'll damn well crack it. Okay, so, like, his father is, like, responsible for making the Hammer of Dawn. And I'm guessing they use the Hammer of Dawn for more than just, like, that small ops stuff. Although he says he's been working on it for, like, 13 years. Ah! And then performance specs on reloaded, original credits. Look, I'm gonna be real. The story also, I can now like I can now add streamer. I can now add Sabin to the auto shout out thingy-majiggy. There we go. Yay, I have now gone through all of the fucking Gears of War 1. And there's just so many things. I hope that there's improvements to the, like, how they decide to, you know, tell the story and all that kind of stuff in Gears of War 2. I am very, very much hopeful that they will figure out how to do that. Because there is, I'll be quite frankly with you. So, am I muted? No? My microphone is still going off. Should be, yeah, I can still see movement left and right. Not according to my mic thingy-majiggy. You're fine? Thank you, Sabe. But yeah, so we went through Gears of War 1. Oh my god, but so many story elements is a, like, I feel like, you know, why was Marcus Phoenix in prison for 14 years? What is so important about his dad? And why is this queen of the Locust and such like that so humanoid when everyone else on the Locust is very bug-like? Is that just, you know, sci-fi, like, you know, Americans just being like, ah, yes, we can come up with the most disgusting-looking aliens, but the women have to be hot. We need sexy babes in our fantasy sci-fis when we're doing aliens, otherwise no one wants to deal with the aliens. Like, is that why? Is that why they want to do that, like they did with Mass Effect? Like, there's just so many things that are going off in Gears of War that I'm like, you know, were we supposed to just take it on the ground running then? Or were we, like, you know, supposed to, you know, just, like, are these tropes that they want us to, like, just take at face value? Because I wanted to know this kind of stuff, and I wanted it to be told to me through the game, not, like, you know, through a comic book. But yeah, hopefully we'll learn more through, like, Gears of War 2, which is most likely going to be the, that's probably going to be the game that we're going to be playing on Friday. I'm going to need to figure out I need to make sure that I can actually play Gears of War 2 on Friday, because there is a way of like playing Xbox games on PC by doing like Xbox like street cloud gaming, which is, you know, good on Microsoft for coming up with that kind of thing. I know some people, I know the UK was like, do not do that, and it's just like, why not? So hopefully it will be, you know, hopefully it'll work. I'll just need to see how it works, because otherwise, so you can play with cloud. Here's what you'll need for the best, use an Xbox 360 control. Okay, cool. I can easily do that. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for me tonight. I know it's only like 9:30-ish, but quite frankly, like, I don't want to, like, you know, pick up another game, and I'm not in like a super chatty mood. Like, I've done a little bit of chatting throughout the like, you know, bits and pieces of the stream, and it was really great having Code the Yoshi in earlier. But yeah, I don't have like any amazing new news, honestly. Like, I've already talked to, like, I've already like made the like announcement of, like, you know, I have a girlfriend and such like that in Monday's stream. So like, I'm pretty pleased about that. She now has like a persona, which is kind of cool. So yay. Work is work. Oh, Texas Furry Fiesta. I am going to Texas Furry Fiesta. That's going to be happening till so that's going to be happening in like 2 weeks, I want to say. So what day is it today? Today is the 11th, and I go through, and so next week is one more week of work, and then the week after, so from the 23rd until basically April 1st, I'm not gonna be streaming. I'm gonna be, you know, traveling and being part of the Texas Furry Fiesta and what have you. So, oh, if any of you are in like Texas or going there, that's awesome. We might even be able to like say hi and such. I will need to remember to bring my, no, god damn it, Sir Dragon. Absolutely uncalled for. How dare you? How dare you? All right. So yeah, what else was in my head? So yeah, so I'm going to be trying to go to TFF. I've saved up all my money. I've put down like a reservation for like a car rental, because while I am comfortable, like, you know, just going through public transport or Ubering in a pinch, I feel like in Texas, like, I looked at it real quick, like, so many, like, you know, going to places is like a $40 Uber ride or something crazy. Stealing the shirt is better. Nah. But yeah, so highly recommend, though, check out Unnamed Yeen, because right now they're trying to put together some funds, so then that way when they go, like, they want to have the opportunity of being able to go to TFF without the financial burden of not working that week. So this throne thingy-majiggy is, hey, god damn it, Sir Dragon. So that throne link that I have in the chat is to help support the Unnamed Yeen, so then that way they have an opportunity to go to TFF and not have any financial hardships from not working during TFF. So I've been, like, you know, doing my contributions where I can here and there, because I've saved all my money up for TFF. So anything extra that could have gone into anything extra, I just, you know, throw into there. But I highly recommend, and
you know, giving them support, because they are absolutely fantastic. They invited me last year to go to the TFF this year, and I would hate to see them not be able to go after all of the good work they've done in building a community and getting everyone to, like, you know, try and organize to go to this TFF this year. So hopefully they'll get the funding that they need. They're really, really close. They're like 84% of the way there. There's been a whole ton of different people, myself included, having contributed to their Texas Furry Fiesta fund and such. And like, I've saved like $4,000 in order to go to this thing, because I need to save at least $2,000 for the hotel and all that kind of nonsense. Yeen lives in Texas, so they don't have to worry about like flights. They just need to worry about, like, you know, fuel and maybe one or two nights hotel, instead of for me, where I'm like, I need to deal with a hotel for an entire week. So yeah. And of course, Sir Dragon just does the shirt, and then Omega does the hyper himbo. But yeah, I think I'm gonna call the stream there. I'm gonna see who is online and who we can go and raid. So it looks like first one recommended to me is someone doing Ziffers, doing a casual speed run. Someone named Nicacy doing Pokemon Pokopia. I don't know who Necrotext is. We can go for like a complete random, quite frankly. We might, yeah, I think we're gonna go for a complete random. I'm just gonna like do a little quick scroll and see. Let us see. Boom. Go. Artists. Oh yeah, March 10th is still like for some people's time zone, so they might be playing a Mario game of some sort. Let's see. So these peeps are chill. Okay, I have no idea what language that is, so that's probably not the best option. There's a Dirg playing Path of Exile. Actually, you know what? Let me just go back a step. Same category. Let me see if there's anyone in the same category. Yes, there is. Someone called Trollzuka. Oh, I remember the section they were in. All right, we're gonna go surprise. We're gonna go raid into Trollzuka because they're playing Gears of War as well. You know, it will be a little bit of fun. We're just gonna go with the short and sweet himbo raid. If you are not subscribed, that is okay. You're welcome to use whatever other kinds of emotes that you want. I'm going to be using mine. And otherwise, thank you everyone who came along to tonight's stream. I greatly appreciate it. I will see how I can best play Gears of War 2 Friday night if I'm lucky. If not, I'll probably think of something else to play because, you know, I don't have an Xbox 360 anymore. I only have the PlayStation 5 and my PC. But yeah, if Code is still here, thank you for dropping into the VC real quick. If Elk, thank you for being here. And for everyone else, I hope you have a good morning, afternoon, evening, night, wherever you are. And hopefully I'll see you Friday night. If not, I'll see you all next time. Bye for now. Bye-bye.